Welcome, my nerd familia, to another episode of Games y Mas, the podcast where we're talking about all things board games, video games, and pop culture. On today's episode, we're continuing our top shelf or yard sale segment where we're going to be looking at board games and deciding if this game is worthy to be on your top shelf or if it's sadly going to end up on your neighbor's weekly yard sale, which is not a good spot for most of these board games that, as us fellow board gamers, we think of a yard sale board game as blasphemous because we just want to keep all our games on there. So, thank you guys so much for joining us here today. We are joined by a special guest here, Kevin from the Apartment Tabletop. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us here, man. I'm so excited to have you here, and humbled, very humbled that you're on here as well, man. You're big time on the TikTok community, dude, and I love you. But yeah, thank you again so much for joining us here.
No, you're kidding. I love being here. I feel humbled just being invited over. So
the honor's mine, sir. Yeah, and I'm very excited to talk about a tabletop game that we're going to be diving into here. But yeah, very excited here to see what your answers are. And again, I've never heard of this board game, so I'm going to join you, audience, here as we both are going to figure out if this game is worthy to be a top shelf or a yard sale game. So, guys, with all that being said, pull up a chair, grab some dice, y acompáñeme a jugar. Kevin, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Oops. All
Let's
right.
talk games.
Let's talk some games, man. I'm very excited. Again, thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast. And Kevin, thank you so much for taking some time off from the busy schedule. I know scheduling is kind of difficult, especially over here. We all got lives, we all got jobs, and stuff like that. So I really appreciate you coming here. Before we get into the meat of the podcast of diving into the Top Shelf for Yard Sale podcast board game, what we do here at Games y Mas is for our first time guests is we ask an icebreaker question, and it's a two-parter question. And I'm very curious to hear your answers here. But the first part of the question is, what is your favorite board game of all time? I know I asked you this before we started recording and stuff, so I'm pretty sure the answer is what might be the topic, or it could have changed. I don't know. It might have changed by the time that we talked, but I'm not sure. And then the second question is, what is your favorite video game of all time? I'm talking about, I'm encompassing console gaming, PC gaming, and even arcade games. If there's even an childhood arcade game that you enjoyed. I know it's tough. These questions are tough, especially even the board game and the video game questions are very tough. So what I like to do with our guests is, if you can't narrow down to one, I can give you like a top three. If you want to do like a top three, maybe top four. Even with the board games too, even if like this one of the board games is one of your top favorites, but you have another one, again, you can include it. And as a fellow tabletop aficionado, you probably understand when I say board game, I'm talking about dice games, party games, tabletop games, all that stuff. But yeah, I'm very curious, Kevin, to know what are your answers here. We can start off with the board game question. It might be a bit simpler for you. But yeah, Kevin, take it away. What is your favorite board game of all time?
So whenever I get asked this question, usually it's kind of like, what am I looking to do? Because not every board game fits every group or every style. But if I gotta give you a top pick and kind of put a little Easter egg in, it's gonna be Lords of Vegas right here. Favorite board game of all time. I don't think I've ever had a bad playthrough it. Played it 50, 60 times. It's phenomenal each time around.
Nice. Okay, Lords of Vegas. Nice. Very good. And to give you a little bit of a foreshadowing, but that is the game that we are going to be looking at to see if it is a top shelf or a yard sale game. I know when we say yard sale to you, Kevin, you're like, that is blasphemy. How dare this be another yard sale game? But we'll dive more to the topic of that. But let's move on to
I'm ready to defend.
Yeah, no, there you go. That's nice. I love it. I love the debate. Let's move on to the second question, though. Is your favorite video game of all time? I'm curious to hear what would you consider your favorite video game of all time, if you got one?
No, easy. So favorite video game of all time. It's usually a toss-up between two, but I think I'm going to lock in Banjo and Kazooie for the N64.
Oh, okay.
That was my favorite game. You get to run around it. Back before the remake, if you ever died, you lost all your progress for the world. So I just spent hours sunk into that.
Really?
But the Bear and the Bird, yeah, Banjo Kazooie, easy.
Banjo Kazooie. Okay, is there any runner up for that?
Runner up is Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door for the GameCube. That's what made me fall in love with RPGs. The Mario series in general, just all the characters in the game, getting the companions running around. The storyline was so unique. It felt very not Nintendo, but like their best game of all time as well. Sure. They came out with a remake for the N64 for the Switch. I mean, got that, beat it immediately. It's nice. It's good. Did
it bring back the memories when you got it on the Switch?
It definitely did. It's I'm becoming an old man. I no longer could just sit down on the couch in front of a TV and play. So
Mm-hmm.
having a Switch right before bed, just kind of playing a World of Night. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's my bread and butter right there. So
Nice. Yeah, I'm the same way. I have a Switch. My wife takes it over because she loves playing Stardew. So she's engulfed in the Stardew world. But I got like one of those little emulators, like the
mhm.
Retro Pocket emulators. And so I've been playing old school. Like I have like Banjo Kazooie for the N64 emulator. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon because I just want to bring back my memories of playing Pokemon on the Game Boy. So Banjo Kazooie
For sure.
and Paper Mario. Nice, good choices, man. So I've never
Yeah.
played a Paper
Thank
Mario
you.
game actually, to be honest.
Ooh. That
I
is
need.
a hot debate about which one to start with. The
I
first one and the
really.
second one are the best, and then all the other ones are fine.
You're like, yeah, like we kind of don't talk
Eh,
about him, but
right, I mean, that's a whole other podcast right there.
there you go. Hey, let's do it. Let's run
But
the Paper Mario history of and hot takes of Paper
absolutely,
Mario. Let's do it. Okay, that's pretty cool. Awesome. So Banjo Kazooie and Paper Mario, and then favorite board game is Lords of
Lords of Vegas.
Vegas. Is there any runner up close that reaches that height of board gaming for you?
Absolutely. So the one that I would say like is my favorite recently is Slay the Spire, the board game.
Oh,
Back that
nice.
Kickstarter years ago came in, and oh my goodness, it is phenomenal.
Really
Uh,
nice.
so to say Banjo Kazooie is my favorite video game, Slay the Spire I think is the most perfectly made video game. That's going
Okay.
to be my hot take of it's a 11 out of 10, and the board game does
Really?
not disappoint. It is also an 11 out of 10,
Okay.
phenomenal. But man, you got to have 4 to 5 hours to play through it because it is a
Really?
long slog.
Yeah, cool. Great. Excellent choices, Kevin, man. I love your choices, man. I love your video game choices. I'm always curious to know what you guys' video games and board games are. Um,
Mhm.
and so there you guys have it. Those are Kevin's choices. Let us know in the comments below what you think about his choices. And I want to know about your guys' choice. What is your favorite video game and favorite board game of all time? Let us know in the comments below. Here, let's get a little intro about you, Kevin. Like, let's who is
Yeah.
Kevin here from the Apartment Tabletop here. I mean, for me, you're a well-known TikToker. Is that the only platform you're on, or are you on other platforms currently?
So as of right now, yes, we are only on TikTok right now, just for board games. Looking
Mhm.
to branch out, but it's right now just real convenient to stay on one, just because every different social media platform is its own snowflake, and you have to meet their
Mhm.
parameters. So I don't want to
Mhm.
re-edit the videos 3 times, but
Mhm.
definitely, yeah, TikTok primarily. We had a YouTube channel a while ago, just doing video game let's plays. If you want to
Mhm.
dig through the abyss of the YouTube algorithm to find those, but yeah, right
Yeah,
now,
definitely.
just board games, just TikTok.
Okay, okay. And so the apartment tabletop. So if you want to give us like a little bit of like the origins of that. I mean, I know if
Yeah.
those, I'll leave a link below to your guys' profile as well if you want. I know you guys have it pinned as a little bit of a history. So
Mhm.
go check that guys out. But if you also want to hear from Kevin himself here, yeah, if you want to go a little bit of why
Yeah.
the apartment tabletop for sure.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it brief. Essentially, I had the idea growing up. Watching Rooster Teeth was my big love of getting into content creation. Always wanted to be
Mm-hmm.
a YouTuber. Always wanted to be a TikToker.
Yep.
And so, what I loved is that they had a bunch of different companies that were all part of like the same umbrella, so to
Mm.
speak. And so I thought, oh, what if we make a channel called The Apartment, and then we have sub channels about the different rooms. So the
Okay.
tabletop
Oh.
is for all the board games. And then you have the binge room if you wanted to review movies and TV shows, the kitchen for a cooking channel. And then obviously you got the game room for video games. So there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of stuff in the works for the future, when eventually we get time, if that ever happens.
Oh, for sure.
But
Yeah.
I have board games. I know board games. Thought that'd be a good way to start off, and
Mm-hmm.
been loving the community, loving the tabletop, and yeah, just looking forward to
Yeah.
keep growing.
No, man, I love your channel, bro. I really love, especially like I think what's genius is you have your little showdowns where you do with like different type of organs. Like, all
Oh
right,
yeah,
bro. That's chef kiss, bro. That is brilliant, dude. I love that. That's such a good classic. Like that's your niche right there, and I love that, bro. And that's gets me intrigued, and the community I can can agree with me that. Yeah, your channel's it, man. You're popping off. I love it. It's great. I'm very excited to hear about your other rooms. So when you branch out, like I'd love to see the video game one and a cooking one, so I can show my wife like, hey, baby, check this out. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I love it. Go check that again. One more, I can't emphasize enough. Check out his channel. It's so awesome, especially if you're a board gamer and you want to know what's what. Check out his channel for sure. Please check out and let him know that I sent you guys because he's awesome, man. He's such an awesome content creator. I look forward to your new content, every stuff. I mean, I have you on my alerts, so every time you post something
oh,
new,
thanks, man.
I'm hearting it, bro. I'm liking it. Whenever I have time, though, I'm always busy, but I'm just like, oh, let me see what's going on.
Oh yeah,
Um, So yeah, I love your mashups and stuff like that. So the Apartment Tabletop. Thank you again for sharing us that origin. I mean, you have also a TikTok that's pinned about your origins as well, about you and your wife, and you might need
Mhm.
to update it though because you got another dog now, so you might even
I
need
know.
you might bring it up
Yeah,
for
it's
that.
we've been on the page for over a year in September, and so we were gonna do another one, just never got around to it. So
No, I
yeah,
feel
that
you. I
that
feel you.
dog's got a lot bigger since that last video.
Oh, nice. Yeah, definitely. That'd be great. I'm looking forward to seeing that update and stuff like that. But there you guys have there a little bit of a history of who Kevin is and his channel. That him and his is your wife still doing the behind the scenes stuff, or is it she
Oh
kind of?
yes, almost every single video is edited by my wife.
Oh,
That's one
she
of
does
the
brilliant.
things I think that we have as a huge advantage is that we
Mm-hmm.
are two people for the channel.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't care about being on screen or anything, so I'm usually the face of it. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
every video is equally both of us.
No, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. That's cool that she's doing that. Kudos to your wife, man. She does a great job on those editing. She does a brilliant. Makes you look good. Makes you sound
Oh
good.
yeah.
Makes you makes everything. Makes the graphics. I love it. Yeah. So kudos to you. And what's your wife's name? Sorry, I forgot.
Her name's Janine,
Janine. That's
but
right.
everyone just
Janine.
calls her like Neener Neeners. So
Nina. So, well, Janine, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. Keep that good job stuff. Like special shout out to you. Okay, so let's get on with this podcast here. Thank you again so much for the origins here. So we're gonna be talking about Lords of Vegas. Um, we developed 8 questions. Now we're gonna. For those that are listening for the first time, what we're doing here with this game is we're gonna break it down a little bit. We're going to do it through the lens of as if you are a beginner, intermediate board gamer who just has maybe 3 or 4 board games in their collection. They don't know what to move next, and they just saw Lords of Vegas on their local board game shelf, and they're deciding, should we get this game? Am I going to buy it? Is it going to be worth to put it on my shelf, or am I going to end up just have it collect dust and then give it away in a yard sale or something like as that? I know as a gamer, you're saying yes, it's a top shelf game. It's got to belong on my top shelf. How it is on your shelf right there. But let's try to take it off from that bias aside, see if we can break it
mhm.
down, see if it's really worth it for my listeners out there and anyone else that's curious about this game. I'm one of those people that are curious. I've never heard of Lords of Vegas, so this is gonna be a first timer of first time on the podcast that where you're gonna be driving it. You're gonna be letting us know about this game. I'll ask the questions, you break it down. But before we get into the questions, if you wanted to give us like maybe a 2 or 3 or maybe 5 minute explanation of what Lord of Vegas is, and then we'll go from there.
Absolutely. So, Lords of Vegas, the theme is really the whole game. We are all competing to control the Las Vegas Strip. And we're going to be
Mhm.
doing that by building hotels and casinos. In classic Vegas fashion, there's going to be gambling, there's going to be betrayal, backstabbing, but it's all a great time and can have a huge payoff. So, the whole game board is going to be a bunch of empty lots because Las Vegas is being built initially. And
Okay.
so, each turn, you're going to be able to get a little bit of money for the lots that you have and eventually try to spend that money to put down a hotel. And when you do, you're going to slot a dice inside of that for how good your location is. So if you're on the strip, it's going to be a high value. If you're a little bit further away, it's going to be a low value. But the type of hotel you put on there is going to really depend. Each one's going to be a different color and they're all the same. But each turn, you're also flipping over a card and it's going to pay out to whatever that color is. So if you flip over
Mm.
the silver one, all the silver hotels get paid. If you flip over gold, all the gold hotels get paid. Pretty
Oh,
simple
okay.
and really consistent gameplay there. The main
Awesome.
thing, though, is if you put a silver hotel next to mine, whoever has a higher number die on it controls both of them. So
Really?
if I
Oh.
got a 4 in my slot and you put a 5 next to it, I no longer have control of that.
Oh, snap.
It's
Can you upgrade? Can you get higher or you're set?
And so that's the thing is that's where the whole gameplay resides is trying to re-roll those dice to make you the boss of
Mm.
that hotel chain. And so
Oh, okay.
you can pay some money for each pip on the dice through the whole hotel and force people to re-roll, try to do a takeover. So it might even be advantageous to put some small hotels attached to let you kind of build up a big empire and then try
Mhm.
to take it over right before the end of the game when scoring happens.
Oh, nice. Okay. Dang, that I'm intrigued now. I want to play this
Oh
game
yeah.
for sure. That's awesome.
And
That sounds
let
like a
me
lot of fun.
tell you, it makes the biggest comeback moments, the most hype, people in there getting out of their chairs yelling because you'll have a
Real.
hotel, 5 dice to someone else's one. They're not going to win, but it's a Hail Mary at the end. They roll a 6 and you just can't beat it. And they take over your entire empire. And it is
Oh,
exhilarating.
nice. Oh, I gotta love a comeback story. That's awesome, dude. Oh
Oh, yeah.
man, Lord. That's really cool. Lords of Vegas. Okay. Do you know who's it created by, or the company that made it? We can showcase a little bit of the box too.
Oh yeah, so the box is probably the worst part of it because man, this is pretty ugly in my opinion.
It's like some
But the
nineties,
actual
some
game
90s.
is great. So it's
Okay.
by Mayfair Games.
Mayfair
It
Games.
is trying to see if they have the designer anywhere here, and I'm not seeing it.
Mm. What's the
Yeah,
player count for that game?
so normally it is 2 to 4, but I have
Okay.
obviously I love it, so I got the expansion for it. So it gets the high rise, so you can now build your hotels up for even more value. You get a
Oh, nice.
three-dimensional game, and that lets you
Okay.
go up to 6 players.
6 players. Okay. What do you think is the best player count for this game?
I've played it at
Or
everything except for 2. I think is a little weird because it's just a slugfest that way.
mm-hmm.
You kind of usually want to have a couple of strong people and everyone else trying to pull them down. So I
Okay.
would say 3 and up is the best, but 4
Best
or
player.
5 is a sweet spot.
Sweet spot. Okay, 4 or 5. That seems to be like the main number, 4 or 5, to be the sweet spot for most board games. Okay, so 4 or 5 players. Okay, cool. Yeah, man, that's a very interesting. Again, I've never heard of this game. But yeah, when you told me about it, I kind of looked it up and was researching. It looked very interesting and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, the box art is a little bit wonky, which
Yeah.
we'll get into that with the questions here. Which perfect time to get into the questions here. So, in order for this game to be a top shelf game, we have 8 questions. It has to pass 6 of the 8 questions to at least be a
Okay.
top shelf game. If not, unfortunately, then we have to send it to the yard sale department. But I think we'll be good here. I have a good feeling about this game here. We'll start off here with the first question here. And feel free. This rubric is ever evolving, ever changing. If you feel like this question should be like, oh, maybe it should be worded this way, or maybe it should be changed, I'm open to opinions. I'm always open to change the questions here. They're not set in stone. They're not set in stone questions. So we'll move on with that one. So, but yeah, feel free to chime in with any if you feel like it should be this way or this way that.
You got it.
First question. First question is this game easy to pick up and learn, or is it a game where if you're kind of newer to the game, to the genre, are you able to understand the rules well and you'll be able to teach it well? So yeah, Kevin, what do you think? What do you think about this first
All right.
question?
I love that. So for the target audience, I believe like a beginner to intermediate, I always kind of put that gamer as they've played Ticket to Ride and are looking for something new. And so I think if you could play Ticket to Ride fairly well, then the rules here are going to be pretty simple. I
Okay.
don't know if I'm going to bring it over to my mother-in-law and teach her anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I do think that if you're getting into that more board game as a hobby, then I think it's pretty easy to pick up. And the special thing is that the rules really are tied in with the theme. It makes a lot of sense with the gambling and with the aspects. And it's really just, if you don't know what to do, you're just going to roll some dice. And if you have a higher number, you win.
Okay. Okay. So it's pretty simple. I'll go with the yes on this question. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
So
I go with the
now-
yes.
yes. Okay. Solid if you're an intermediate board gamer that's played certain board games, okay, perfect. That's me. That's me. Okay. Second question here is: does this game have good game component qualities? Now, I have 2 questions. These next two questions kind of intermingled. The second question is game design, but we'll set that aside. So now we're looking at component quality. So like, how is like the money system? Are the money like tokens? Are the tokens? Are they kind of plain cardboard? The quality of the components, I guess you could say, like how are the dice? You said there's a lot of dice. How are the dice looking? How's the board even look? How does it look? Stuff like that. So yeah, I'll let you go. What do you think? Does this game have a good game component qualities?
So this might be the big hit to Lords of Vegas. The components are not the best. It is
Okay.
paper money, like a classic $10 game of Monopoly, that just rips and crumbles easily. The hotels are cardboard squares, the punch out that you put the dice in, and I think those are just a standard punch board, standard dice. So nothing special, but not necessarily bad. But yeah, the paper money is just horrible.
It's horrible.
I haven't actually played with the paper money in like years because I got a poker chip set and I just replaced it with that, and it feels a lot more thematic and a lot more fun.
Beautiful.
So
Okay.
you're just throwing poker chips around, and in that way, phenomenal, but kind of cheated that way. So I'd probably give it a no.
No, on this question. Okay, so
Yeah, that's
no,
it's definitely a yard sale version for the components.
for
And the
sure.
artwork,
Okay.
the artwork is as good as it needs to be, but it is not special.
So yeah, so the game design. Do you think it's maybe just kind of falling flat a little bit on that one?
It is. The board, I think, is designed on purpose to be pretty poor because it's supposed to be just empty lots. And so it's just like a solid, like kind of black blob. And then you put the colorful hotels all around it. So eventually it becomes beautiful.
Yeah, how's the artwork for those hotels though? Is it like kind of just your standard like gray square, like blue squares or yellow squares, or?
Oh, it is a purple square and a gold square. It is.
That's it. So nothing detailed, nothing.
There's some details on it, but honestly, it's like calling a Gatorade by its color. You know, you're not looking at the hotels as you couldn't tell what it was if you didn't know what the game was.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so what do you think the final verdict would be for this? Does it have a good game design?
Honestly, I'm biased, but I gotta give it a fail for the actual components itself. It's not there. It's not up to snuff.
Oh, okay. Oh man, this game's not looking hot. Not to a hot start right now. Looking like, oh man, I think we can come back. We got this here. Okay. All right. So next question here. I'm curious to hear about this one. Is does this game have good replayability? Can you play this game and play multiple times, and you'll have not say like a whole different new experience, but like it'll be different strategies every time.
Oh, 100% yes. This is the game. If you just want to buy one game and play the same thing for the rest of your life, this will be a great time each time. The way it kind of, like I said, you like flip a card and that's kind of what pays out. Well, each card will also have a specific lot on it, and that's the lot that you get. And so it's going to be a different setup each time, different everything. The main thing is that you start with 2 lots each game. So you're going to get basically $2 million at the start. So you kind of do the same opening moves. But after the first turn, it's a whole new game.
Really? Okay, interesting.
Oh, yeah. I think the replayability is probably better than anything else I've done.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, it's my favorite game of all time for a reason.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. No, yeah. When I think of replayabilities, my standard I always compare it to Betrayal, because that's one of my favorite games. And so like it's like 50 different ways to play that game. It's always going to be different. So, but it's good to know. Good to know that one that has good replayability where, you'll have different lots every time you play. And I'm pretty sure the player count even changes even more of the replayability count as well.
Absolutely. At lower player counts, you kind of get to build up an empire and then crush each other. Higher player counts, you're bumping elbows from the very beginning. So
nice. I love that. I love that. That whole little like butting heads at the very beginning. Oh man, I'm all game for that. I'm all super game for that. That's fun. I like those games preferably than like kind of slow burners where it's like you're slowly building your empire, because it's like, all right, if I don't do anything on my turn, like I'm already getting taken over by someone else. But it's like if we're like going at it head already off the bat, keeps you engaged.
Oh yeah. I would say the first 1 or 2 turns, it's more of just like, oh, I get my money past turn. But after that, it's just a slugfest.
Nice. I love that. Okay, cool. Awesome. Come on. Good replayability, guys. There we go. So, all right, next question here. Does this game have a good setup time? When you're setting it up the game. What I usually like to do with mine, I obviously couldn't do it because I don't have this game, is what I like to do with my board games is I like to time myself. So just for the podcast. So what I'll do is I'll take the board game, start the timer, and as if like I'm just an intermediate board game, I'm taking it out of the box, opening up the rule books, and just following whatever the setup time is, and then I'll just see what the time is. Obviously, we couldn't do that for Lords of Vegas, but we'll go based off of your expertise here. Kevin, what do you think? Does this game, how long does it take to set up? Is this a game where like if you're gonna play, you gotta tell everyone like I'll set up beforehand before you guys come over, or is it a game where if your friends are over, like let me set up real quick and then we'll play? What do you think, Kevin?
I think you could easily pull this out and set it up while the people are already over. Setup time, it might go up to 10 minutes, but honestly, if you have the box already like put away, I have baggies for each of the different colored hotels, so I can just kind of pour them in their piles. It's like a 5-minute setup. The main thing is that, so you got that stack of cards. The end of game is one of the cards in there. So you got to take it, shuffle it into like the bottom 6 or 7, and then you put the rest of it on top. And so that's really the only setup you got to do each time if everything else is already organized in the box. So I'd say it's not the quickest game to set up, but it's easily in that top 10% for fast setups.
Right. It's not Twilight Imperium setup,
It's no TI. One of my other like top 5 games is Blood on the Clock Tower, and I always forget how much that setup actually is.
I've been wanting to play that game for so long. I heard that game was phenomenal. And like, yeah, maybe that's the next purchase there, Blood on Clock Tower. But yeah, I heard it was a crazy setup time, but also you need like a lot of people to play that one, no? Or is it you need like a good crew for that one?
Yes, so that's a game where I bought it, and if I play it one time a year, it's worth it. Just because that one night is going to be phenomenal. I think, you need at least like 11 people minimum.
11?
But my sweet spot was like 16, 17. Honestly, like,
Really?
it sounds insane, but I mean, it's last time I played it, I think it was like New Year's Eve or and then around Halloween. And so
Oh.
just times where people are already coming over for a big party, play on the
Hmm.
clock tower for the night. It's great.
Oh man, yeah, I need to get that game. I need to
Yeah, that's definitely
experience
for an
it.
event. You're not just casually getting that on a
No,
Tuesday.
yeah, yeah. That's just like Ti. It's like, hey guys, I have December 14th open. You want to come over play some Ti? We're gonna be here all day. It's like, all right, cool. I'm pretty sure same thing with Blood on the Clock Tower stuff like that. I had nothing but positive stuff about that game
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
But back
Look,
to Lords of Vegas though,
yeah.
you could easily have people already over. Hey, why don't we play a board game? That's the one I'll pull out because it is pretty quick to set up, and I can kind of explain the game while I'm setting up too.
So easily, you said like maybe like 10 minutes, 15 minutes to set it up, kind of.
Yeah, honestly, 10 minutes max total. I would
That's
say.
perfect. That's a beautiful time. I mean, most of these games that we did, previous ones, were like 30, 40 minutes at a time. So I'm just like, that's
Oh yeah, Lords of
little bit
Vegas
tough.
blows us out of the water.
It is nothing. Yeah, yeah. It's like, I mean, it's no scout, but it's obviously no other games.
Yeah.
Okay, so easy, solid yes on setup time here. Okay, cool. Okay, next question here. You might have a better understanding because it's kind of hard finding the pricings here for this. But
Mhm.
is this game decently priced, even if or like when it's on sale, maybe, or will it break your wallet? Unfortunately.
Ooh, we might be missing this one. So when I bought it, it was like I think about $50, maybe 45. So
Okay.
super affordable or
Hmm.
super affordable, but
Yeah,
it's less than a video game.
for
And
sure.
that's usually what kind of my mark is like, is the board game going to cost as much as the new video game?
Hmm. Hmm.
And so I think it passes that when I bought it. This
Hmm.
was also probably back in like 2015.
Oh my
uh,
goodness.
so yeah, it's one of my older ones.
Okay.
So nowadays, I don't know if it's in print. I don't think you'll be able to go to a store and just find it on a shelf.
Hmm.
So if eBay is putting it, I think $80.
Hmm.
I think it's still worth it if you want a good game. But it's not budget friendly anymore. If they get a new
Mm.
printing, then yes, but
Mm.
it might not pass that.
My point. Yeah, when I say decently priced, I forgot to emphasize that my standards, again, your standards probably be different, but my
Mhm.
range of decently priced is like if a game goes from like $30, $35 all the way up to like 75, maybe $80. I think that's a good chunk frame of like that's a good decently priced game.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of other guests when we've asked this question. It's like higher ended games, like for instance, like Nemesis, that you're looking like $120 game, but you're paying for how much you're getting out of the game, how much you're
Yeah.
getting. So you're getting all these miniatures, you're getting all these components and like that. So like, yes, it was worth it on that one because if it's on sale, if it's not on sale, then it's not worth it. But if it's on sale, for the price you're getting for that game, it was worth it. Um, I'm looking here at the kind of the eBay pricings. The lowest I see is like $90
Ooh.
on eBay, and then it goes up to like $139. So it's like,
Yeah, it might just not be an affordable game anymore. If you find it at a yard sale, though, snap it up because it's going to be worth it there.
there you go. So we'll probably go with maybe a no on this one. So next question is, we're actually on our seventh one. Is does this game have good game lore? Lore is there enough on this game on the rule set or something to give you information story of like why we're playing this board game or what's going on? Like obviously you have those immersive games like the Nemesis or Twilight Imperium or Scythe or Spectre Ops or some of those games where it's like they give you a backstory of like, hey, you're this person here, now we're doing this objective and stuff like that. What do you think? Does Lords of Vegas have a game where it's lore rich, or is it kind of basic like you're building hotels, that's it?
This is going to be one of those questions I will tweak a little bit because
Okay,
the
yeah.
actual theme for it,
Hmm.
not really. You're in Vegas. We're all, scumbag millionaires trying to, grow our empire of massive hotels and casinos.
Right,
We're playing as not good people trying to be mean to each other.
right.
And that's really the whole lore to it. But this game does create lore with your friend groups because this is a
Oh.
game that will create rivalries, will be create like, hey, you're not in the lead, but I'm going to absolutely destroy your hotel chain because you backstabbed me 2 games ago. Or hey,
Mhm.
I remember last month you absolutely trashed me. I'm going after you this game.
Oh,
Um,
okay, okay.
and so it's one of the games where I think the special part is that you get to be mean
Mhm.
without the other person feeling bad because you still are taking a risk each time. And if you fail, they
Right,
just get even richer.
right.
um,
Okay.
and so I think it creates a lore where this is I think only game where I repeatedly bring up game nights from the past still to this day, where it's like it creates those memories and lore between your friends. And so if you're gonna let me get away with that one, I'd say yes. But the actual Vegas itself theme, it's pretty weak. I don't think I've actually read any story for it.
Gotcha. No, I like that. I like that tweak, and because of that, we'll give it a yes. Because yeah, like even when you're creating a lore within your friends, like that's even like that's the whole point of like board gaming is creating that interactive, impromptu kind of stuff that you're building with your friends. Even if they're like with lore heavy games where you're playing as a certain faction, and you're playing versing another faction. Why are you attacking me? Oh, because you guys attacked me back in. You're creating this whole backstory. And within your friend group, again, if you're creating this whole backstory of like, hey, last year when we played, your family took over my hotel and I'm getting revenge, stuff like that. That's beautiful. I love that. And yeah, for that, I will give that 100% yes on lore.
We'll take it.
Yeah, basic stock lore probably does not have much. It's just but if you can,
it might be a paragraph at the top of the rule book.
Yeah, it's like you have to roll dice, build stuff. You're a Lord of Vegas. All right, that's it. Keep playing. Yeah, no, for sure. Like, yeah, so you can't create lore with like Monopoly or Guess Who or something. It's not one of those basic games because it's just basic. You're just doing whatever. But if you can create a lore, yeah, we'll go ahead. So yes. All right, last question here. Fortunately though, if we get this right, we're only at 5. 5 out of the 6. So let's make this one a banger where like it counts for 2 or something. But the question is, does this game have good game pacing / turn gameplay? Is this a game where if it's your turn, Kevin, and I'm like 5th and you're 1st, am I just sitting down just watching you and like bored and like I can like whip out my phone while I wait for my turn? Or is it a game that's I'm actively engaged and like I have to see what you're doing, I have to know what you're doing, and I have to be prepared, ready for my turn? Or is it a game where it's like, oh, you have like a million things you're doing on your turn, so I'm just gonna sit back and just wait and stuff like that? What do you think? What do you think about this game pacing / turn order gameplay?
So it definitely is a turn by turn game where when it's not your turn, you're not the active person, so you can check out. However, in practice or actually playing it, this is probably the one turn based game where I see the least amount of phones at the table because everyone is invested among other players. And
Beautiful.
the main part of that is that your hotels are always, it's almost more important to focus on other people's turns because if it's like my turn and you just went and you're waiting, I'm going to come over to your hotel and I'm about to steal it. I'm going to hey, we are re-rolling. I am doing a takeover and you got to be ready to defend yourself.
Right.
Or you might start trying to strike up a deal with me outside the game. Like, hey, if you don't attack me, I promise you we will both take over that person. Or I will give you $5 million to help pay for attacking that player over there. And so there's going to be all these deals. You're constantly cocking and having that conversation. And so there's very little. There is gameplay-wise downtime. But if you're not talking, trying to make deals and stuff, you're going to lose. Because this game is all about trying to swindle the other person or trying to break up other people's deals and alliances, and so it's definitely you're invested the whole time.
Invested. Okay, perfect, awesome. So that's a solid yes for that one. Which I like. That's awesome. Like, yeah, it's a sad thing to see when you're like invested in this game and then your friend that's like four turns away is just on their phone, and then it's like, hey, it's your turn. You're like, oh, what am I doing?
Yep.
It's like, come on, like you got it. So, but it also tells you about the game. Like if the game has like on your turn you're gonna do A, B, C, D, X, and then on that X you can do this and this. Like if it's so like turn based heavy, it could be a turn off. But yeah, if you're like invested and like having other people like into the game, and I love what you said where it's like this is a game where like the least amount of phones are on the table. Man, that's a win. That's a win game right there. That's a top shelf game for me right there already. Just that question alone, for sure. But okay, good to know about that game pacing stuff. But Kevin, looking at these questions though, we got the 5 out of the 8 questions. Unfortunately though, it did not meet the rubric. But listen, this is a very high like 5, or like it's like 5.9. It's like a 5.9, so it's almost a 6 to like passing one. But if we gotta follow the rubric, and I can't, give it a little bit of grace on this one because then I'm like, you didn't give grace to the other game.
No, I don't want the grace. I want to earn it.
Yeah. So unfortunately, guys, this is sadly a yard sale game. But not for me though, because I'm gonna buy this game because this game is a fun game. So this is a top shelf game for me. But if we're following the rubric, maybe If you're looking for something a little bit more, I mean, honestly, like the questions that were no were like the design game. So if you're looking for something more beautiful, then you can obviously get a beautiful game. But if you don't really care about design and artwork stuff, like this is the game for you. This is especially for you intermediate gamers or beginner gamers. This is the game for you for sure. Deserves to be on your top shelf. If you're one of those higher ended intermediate gamers where like you're looking for like higher end games, maybe this might be a yard sale game for you because it's like below your tier. But I mean, Kevin, you probably you hardcore disagree. This is a top shelf game for you as well.
I mean, I respect the decision. It definitely didn't make it to the top shelf. I'm always
Mhm.
going to keep it up there just because it's my favorite. But I mean, honestly, being a yard sale game kind of fits it. I mean, just look at that thing. That's coming out of your grandmother's closet. Just she found it, dusted it off, has just put it up there.
Mhm.
I love yard sales. It's where I try to always find some of my games, find the best
Mhm.
ones.
Yep.
So respect the decision. But yeah, if you don't need pretty art, then Lords of Vegas is the game for you. If
No,
you
for
need something
sure.
beautiful like a wingspan,
Mhm.
you might steer clear.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I agree. Yeah, I said like this game. I once again I've never played it, but the way you've explained it makes me want to get it for sure. It just sucks that it's out of print, not to like go down the rabbit hole of finding it or something like that. Or
Yep.
if anyone has it and is willing to give it up, let me know. I would gladly buy it off of you. I probably won't spend $120 on it, but I mean, if you could give me a good deal, I'll probably buy it off of you for sure. Because I want to play this game. I think this game really fits up the alley of my gaming group that loves to stay engaged and backstab each other. You know, because we love playing the Game of Thrones board game, so we just love like fighting against each other. This game fits is right up there at that alley of just beating each other up and just destroying each other's hotels and stuff like that.
Oh
I
yeah.
love it, man.
And one last thing I might even
Go
say to
ahead.
that is while you are bumping elbows, fighting, constantly clashing, there's no real like pre-planning ahead of time. Like in Game of Thrones or something, you might like try to move your armies, get ready to
Hmm.
backstab and do that. No,
Hmm.
this one is in the heat of the moment, you're going with your gut feeling of I believe it. This one die is gonna get me the whole hotel.
Nice. Okay, I love that. You know, the chances. Yeah, no thinking, just rolling. Just go
Oh
with it.
yeah,
See what.
it's a game built around spite, and I love it.
Nice, awesome. And then there's an expansion too. You say you got the expansion, which is
Yeah, I
awesome.
think it's called the High Rollers or High
Mhm.
Rise. But yeah, it's kind of builds the game actually vertically up, and you actually get to build your hotels and casinos taller.
Oh, nice, awesome. That's pretty cool. Does it make it
Yeah.
prettier or kind of just?
Oh no,
No, no. It's just like we're trying.
it's just throwing
That's a
more
no.
car. No, it's just making it taller. It's not making it prettier at all. It's the same
Okay.
cardboard, just stacking it up.
So that's a no on game design again for the expansion. So don't get the expansion if you're not looking for art for sure. Okay, so 5 out of 8. I mean, again, we hate to say that it's a yard sale game, but again, with your explanation of the game, it seems like a very fun game to have if you're just kind of a casual board gamer. If you can find it now because it's been out of print for a long time. So if you can find it on eBay, there you go. Um, but yeah, so that pretty much is it for the tabletop top shelf for yard sale. I mean, not too long. We didn't dive deep into a heavier board game. We probably
Right.
should. But Kevin, thank you so much for explaining this game for us and introducing me to this game again. I mean, have you done a TikTok short of this game or no?
I have not yet. It's been in a lot of my videos for like, oh, Kevin's top tens or games that
Oh, okay.
always make me laugh or favorite dice rollers or something like that.
Okay.
It'll kind of, make an appearance, but I haven't done a dedicated video to it just because it's
Hmm.
out of print and it's almost
Hmm.
like I get to, dangle the carrot of like, oh, this game's great, but you can't get it.
Yeah, I have it. You
So
don't. Yeah.
the moment it comes back into print or they do a sequel or something, I'm going to be all about it, singing
Oh,
its
for sure.
praises.
Hey, man. I mean, I'd love to do another board game session with you with tabletop yard sale. We could probably come up with a game that, I mean, pretty sure my list of games you've already played, so we could probably set that up again. And I'd love to have you back on the podcast, or even just talk
Let's do
video
it.
games too, man. Let's talk some more video games here, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, I play
Quick,
video games all the time. So you just let me
yeah,
know. I'm
same.
here.
Let's run it. I'm always game for that one. I mean, I have some projects in the works that I'd love to have you on as like kind of like a round table thing where we're gonna have
Mhm.
multiple guests and we're just gonna talk video games and just have a good time there and stuff game. But as we're rounding off this podcast, Kevin, do you have it? We've talked about your TikTok. Is there anything else you'd like to plug in that I can help you out with putting it on the descriptions below? I mean, again, we've talked about your TikTok. Go check that out again. The Apartment Tabletop. Great content. I don't know, Kevin, if you have anything else you'd like to showcase.
Not necessarily. Honestly, I was really excited to be here. I love getting the invite. Kind of like, oh wow, they actually want
No,
me here. So I
no,
felt giddy.
bro.
So I don't really consider ourselves a big channel, but that's just because like I don't know, we're just doing what we do. We have been posting a video about board games every single day. And so, keep it up with that consistent content. And give us a follow if you like it. If not, thanks for checking it out anyways. But
Do
no,
it.
thanks for having
Do it.
me.
Follow.
Love being here. And yeah, so you might have mentioned it earlier, but we do a series called the Board Game Bracket where we pit games up to see who is the best game of all time. Right now, we're doing stocking stuffers for the holidays. So
Yep.
all
I've seen
small
that.
boxes. So make sure you get your game into top.
There you go. Yeah, go follow them, guys. Leave a comment, support, heart, do everything you can to support this guy's channel because Kevin and Janine are doing such a beautiful job. I love it. I love the content. I mean, again, that's how I discover more board games from you, man. For especially your bracket ones, your tops. It's awesome. It's brilliant, man. It's great. Yeah, go give them a follow. I'll leave a description below. And then let us know. Was this game a top shelf game or is it a yard sale game? Let us know. Were we wrong? Were our questions wrong? Let us know. Fight us in the comments. Let us know. I mean, this is Kevin's favorite board game, so he's ready to battle it out with you guys to know if this game is worthy to be on the top shelf or not. But Kevin, thank you again so much for everything. Thank you so much for your content, for your love, man. Like I said, you guys. When I ever have like guys, people like you from TikTok or anyone else that I meet from the board community, your guys are like celebrities to me, man. You're like a celeb, man. It's an honor to have you on there, bro. Like it's cool. I'm just this little no-name podcast, bro, that's trying to make it through. But I just do this for the fun of just talking with fellow board gamers and video gamers and nerds, just to communicate and build friendships and hopefully in the future have some game nights, bro. Because we got to run there. I'll take a trip to Colorado for a game night.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Yeah, if you're ever in Colorado, we'll definitely get some game nights going on.
For
we get
sure.
a bunch of content together.
Yeah, you'll be the first one I hit up and going, hey, bro, I'm here. Let's go. Let's run it. Lords of Vegas right now. Where's it at? Definitely, yeah. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin, thank you so much for joining us here, man. I appreciate it, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel here if you'd like to see more content. I love seeing you guys' comments and the subscribes going up. Follow Kevin as well on TikTok and. Yeah, if you guys want to find us, the podcast, we're on all socials here. We're on X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to. You can find us at GamesYouMustPod. That is at GamesYouMustPod. Or if you want to send us an email, you can find us at GamesYouMustPod@gmail.com. GamesYouMustPod@gmail.com. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us here. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Y nos vemos para la próxima.